Hogan's heroes made audiences laugh with their clever inmates outwitting the Nazis. But behind the scenes, there were horrific tragedies, from the mysterious murder of Bob Crane to the haunting pain of the Holocaust that haunted Robert Clary. Throughout his life, join us as we explore the casts, personal journeys, and remember their legacy. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting Hollywood stories. Let's watch. Bob Crane as Colonel Robert E. Hogan. Bob Crane was born on July 13, 1928 in Connecticut, and is a talented actor, drummer, and DJ. In 1965, at the age of 37, he became a household name on television as Colonel Robert Hogan in Hogan's Heroes, a sharp, resourceful officer who leads American prisoners of war to sabotage Nazi plots. The role earned Crane 2 Emmy nominations and propelled him to the pinnacle of fame. But after Hogan's Heroes ended in 1971, Crane's career plummeted. Supporting roles in films such as Superdad 1973, Gus 1976, and the failed comedy The Bob Crane Show 1975 failed to revive his stardom. His personal life was also turbulent. After 21 years of marriage, he divorced his first wife, Anne Terzian, mother of his 3 children, to marry his co-star Sigrid Valdez Hilda in 1970. That marriage quickly fell apart, and they separated before his death. What made Crane's life even more tragic was a dark secret that few people knew about. He was addicted to filming sex scenes with his friend John Henry Carpenter, a Sony employee. What started as a thrill turned into a destructive obsession that alienated him from Hollywood and ruined his public image. On June 29, 1978, while touring the play Beginner's Luck in Scottsdale, Arizona, Bob Crane was brutally murdered in his apartment at Powell. The age of 49, his body was found with blunt force injuries and an electrical cord wrapped around his neck. The case shocked the nation, and to this day the real killer has never been found. Carpenter was tried, but acquitted. The mystery surrounding Crane's death, combined with his tumultuous life, has made him one of Hollywood's most notorious tragedies. At the time of his death, Bob Crane's net worth was estimated at $2 million, all of which belonged to his second wife, further fueling speculation about his untimely death. His grave now lies next to Sigrid Valdez at Westwood Village Memorial Park, engraved with the words, "Hogan and Hilda forever together." A bittersweet farewell to a star gone too soon. Werner Klemperer as Colonel Wilhelm Klink. Werner Klemperer was born on March 22, 1920, in Cologne, Germany, and brought to unforgettable life Colonel Wilhelm Klink, the bumbling, cocky commander of Stalag 13 in the series Hogan's Heroes. He was 45 when he began his role in 1965. The comedic role earned him 2 consecutive Emmy Awards in 1968 and 1969. Few people know that Klemperer's life was filled with hardship and inner turmoil from an early age. The son of renowned conductor Otto Klemperer, he fled Nazi Germany with his family in 1933. His childhood was marked by exile, loss, and a constant fear of persecution, leaving him with a lifelong sense of insecurity. Despite his family's success in America, living in his father's shadow created constant pressure for Werner to prove himself on stage and screen. These emotional scars also affected his love life. He went through 3 marriages, each of which ended in heartbreak. His marriage to Susan Dempsey, the mother of his 2 children, Mark and Erica, ended in heartbreak. At the height of his fame with Hogan's Heroes, he married actress Louise Troy in 1969, but that marriage also ended in divorce in 1975. It was not until his later years that he found lasting peace with his partner Kim Hamilton, who remained by his side until the end of his life. Behind the laughter of Klink, Werner carried a deep inner tension. Even after success in films like Judgment at Nuremberg 1961, or Acclaim on Broadway, and Cabaret 1987, he struggled with loneliness, obsession with his past, and the dazzling light of fame. Sleepless nights and the unresolved wounds of failed marriages consumed him, despite his calm demeanor to the world. On December 6, 2000, Werner Klemperer died at the age of 80 of lung cancer, the sad result of a long-term smoking habit common among artists of his time. He passed away peacefully at his home in Manhattan, leaving behind an estimated fortune of $5 million, the fruit of a lifetime of dedication to art. John Banner as Sergeant Hans Schultz. John Banner was born on January 28, 1910 in Stanislaw, Austria-Hungary, now Ukraine, and is forever associated with his role as Sergeant Schultz in the film Hogan's Heroes. When the film opened in 1965, he was 55, playing the bumbling but good-natured guard, famous for his classic line, "I see nothing, I hear nothing, I know nothing." The role not only brought laughter, but also made Banner a beloved face across America, although behind the humor was a life of hardship. Born into a Jewish family, Banner experienced tragedy early on, having to flee Austria in 1938 as Nazi power spread, leaving loved ones behind. In America, he quickly learned English and joined the United States Air Force, serving faithfully throughout World War II. But the painful memories of his family's massacred during the Holocaust became a wound that never healed. Those losses made Banner extremely uncomfortable with being stereotyped as a Nazi in movies, even though it was the only way he could survive in the industry. Despite his fame with the Hogan's Heroes series, Banner's personal life was one of solitude. He had 2 marriages, no children, and spent much of his time touring and working, trying to stay afloat in his career. His later roles in films, such as The Wicked Dreams of Paula, Schultz, 1968, and the Chicago Teddy Bears brought little lasting joy as his health declined and his past continued to haunt him. On January 28, 1973, his 63rd birthday, John Banner died suddenly in Vienna of a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm, a life-threatening medical emergency that came on too quickly for him to be saved. At the time, he was relaxing with friends, seeking peace after years of work-related stress. His net worth was estimated at $1 million, a modest sum for a lifetime devoted to making audiences laugh. Robert Clary was born on March 1, 1926, in Paris, and is best known for his role as Corporal Louis Lebeau, a smart, quick-witted French chef in the Hogan's Heroes series. He was 39 when he joined the cast in 1965, but behind that cheerful exterior was a man who had survived unimaginable horrors. Born into a Jewish family of 14 siblings, Clary faced the hell of the Holocaust at the age of 16. Deported to a concentration camp, he wore the A5714 tattoo on his arm as a mark of his pain and of his siblings never returned. In the darkness of Buchenwald, Clary sang to the SS, clinging to each note like a lifeline. After liberation in 1945, the memory of waking up each morning next to lifeless bodies haunted him for the rest of his life. After arriving in America, Clary rebuilt his world, fighting back tears as he performed on Broadway and in movies. Hogan's Heroes brought him fame, but also controversy. Stalag 13. He often had to explain was not a concentration camp. We were not making fun of the Holocaust. We were telling a comedy about prisoners of war. Clary continued to act, appearing in films such as The Hindenburg 1975, but the pain of his loss was not over his only marriage to Natalie Cantor. Daughter of comedian Eddie Cantor, lasted more than 30 happy years until her death in 1997. Childless Clary devoted his later years to Holocaust education, traveling to share his story and remind the world never to repeat hatred. Robert Clary passed away peacefully at his home in Los Angeles on November 16, 2022, at the age of 96. His net worth at the time was estimated at $3 million, a reward for a lifetime of effort, not only in the entertainment industry, but also in spreading the message of tolerance. Richard Dawson as Corporal Peter Newkirk. Richard Dawson was born on November 20, 1932 in Gosport, England, and made his mark as Corporal Peter Newkirk in the series Hogan's Heroes. He was 33 when He began his role in 1965 playing a smart, resourceful British soldier whose charisma captivated American audiences. But behind the fame was a life of hardship and struggle. As a child, Dawson was scarred by war and had to evacuate with his brother to avoid bombs, which interrupted his education. At just 14, he ran away to join the British Merchant Navy, traveling the world to survive, even wrestling on ships to earn money. Those childhood years tempered his toughness, but also left him with a lonely childhood filled with homesickness. Dawson rose to fame shortly after Hogan's Heroes, becoming a sensation on Match Game and Family Feud. Viewers loved his humor and wit, although his habit of kissing female contestants on live television caused controversy. He called it a lucky and friendly gesture, but the reaction was mixed. Despite his success, loneliness plagued him. His first marriage to actress Diana Dors ended in 1966 amid intense media scrutiny, leaving him exhausted and regretful. Dawson later found belated happiness with his second wife, Gretchen Johnson, whom he met while she was a contestant on Family Feud. They married in 1991 and had a daughter who brought him peace. However, his health declined partly due to years of smoking, a habit that was inseparable from his image on screen and off. On June 2, 2012, Richard Dawson died in Los Angeles at the age of 79 after a battle with esophageal cancer. His net worth is estimated at $2 million, the result of a career dedicated to the entertainment industry. He now rests at Westwood Memorial Park, closing a chapter of his life filled with ups and downs. Howard Kane, born Howard Elmer Cohen on January 2, 1926, in Nashville, Tennessee, became a familiar face to audiences as Major Wolfgang Hochstetter, the stern Gestapo officer who was constantly outwitted by Hogan in the series Hogan's Heroes. He was 41 when he joined the cast in 1967, and with his masterful accent and sharp acting, Kane brought to life one of the most memorable television villains of his time. His life was one of quiet dedication. A Jewish boy with a passion for the arts, Kane served in the U.S. Navy during World War II before finding success on Broadway and eventually in film and television. In addition to Hogan's Heroes, he made his mark in Judgment at Nuremberg, 1776, and Watermelon Man. Away from the spotlight, Kane found joy in simpler things. He loved playing the banjo and singing folk songs, winning more than 29 awards at traditional Southern music competitions, a passion that helped him balance fame and real life. But tragedy struck unexpectedly on December 28, 1993, just days before his 68th birthday, when Howard Kane died of a heart attack in Los Angeles. His net worth at the time was estimated at $600,000, amassed from a long career on stage and screen. His sudden death came as a shock, as he was still working hard on many unfinished plans and dreams. Sigrid Valdez. As Hilda, Sigrid Valdez, born Patricia Annette Olson on September 21, 1935 in Bakersfield, California, is best known for her role as Hilda, Colonel Klink's mysterious and charming secretary in the Hogan's Heroes series. She was 31 years old when she joined the film in 1966, leaving a deep impression with her beauty and delicate acting. But behind that charming image was a life full of turmoil and suffering. Valdez was married to businessman George Attai and had a daughter before fate brought her to Bob Crane on set. Their relationship quickly became the subject of gossip when Crane divorced his first wife and married Valdez in 1970. The marriage thrust her into the media spotlight, especially after Crane's brutal unsolved murder in 1978, a crime that shocked the nation. The shock caused Valdez to withdraw from the entertainment industry, completely giving up her burgeoning career to protect her children from the public eye. In the years that followed, Valdez lived quietly, slowly healing her emotional wounds and focusing on raising her family in peace. She moved to Seattle, joined her son's radio show, and eventually returned to Westwood in her later years. Despite her retirement from the spotlight, Valdez could not completely escape the shadow of her husband's murder and the lingering public speculation. In 2007, after battling lung cancer, a disease often linked to the smoking habits prevalent among artists of her time, Sigrid Valdez died in Anaheim, California, at the age of 72. Her net worth at the time was estimated at $500,000, largely due to her quiet work and the efforts of Bob Crane to manage her estate. Leon Askin as General Albert Burkhalter. Leon Askin was born on September 18, 1907 in Vienna, Austria, and is best known for his portrayal of General Albert Burkhalter, the stern but often outwitted general in the series Hogan's Heroes. He was 58 when he joined the series in 1965, and with his sharp yet charming performance, Askin made Burkhalter one of the most memorable characters on North American television. But behind the glittering stage lights lay a life shattered by war. As a Jew, Askin was brutally beaten by the SA and SS and forced to flee his homeland in 1940. The greatest tragedy of his life was the horrific death of his parents in the Treblinka death camp, a scar that remained in his soul for the rest of his life. After fleeing to America, Askin joined the United States Air Force as a sergeant during World War II, and only after the war ended did he feel safe enough to return to acting. Askin built an impressive career in Hollywood, although most of his roles were supporting roles or roles that required a strong accent. In addition to Hogan's Heroes, he appeared in Wars 2-3, The Robe, Happy Days, and several television series. Despite his fame, Askin lived in the shadow of painful memories of his lost family and homeland. Leon Askin died on June 3, 2005 in Vienna at the age of 97 after a long and eventful life. His net worth at the time was estimated at $2 million, largely from a steady career in Hollywood and on stage. He was laid to rest in Vienna Central Cemetery, closing a tragic journey. Howard Kane plays Major Wolfgang Hochstetter. Larry Hovis as Sergeant Andrew Carter. Larry Hovis was born on February 20, 1936, in Wapato, Washington, and is best known for his role as Sergeant Andrew Carter, the eager but somewhat clumsy explosives expert on the Hogan's Heroes series. He was 29 when he joined the show in 1965, winning over audiences with a character whose innocence and bravado contributed to the show's success. Hovis was an aspiring singer signed to Capitol Records and performing in nightclubs, but behind his versatile talent lay years of pressure to survive in the harsh entertainment world. Moving from music to acting, he struggled to find recognition, and later faced disappointment as a producer, particularly with projects like Totally, Hidden Video, which were met with heavy criticism and legal wrangling. These career setbacks created a quiet, sad period in his life, although he continued to contribute to the stage and taught at Texas State University in his later years. Hovis kept his personal life private and free of scandal. But tragedy struck when he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, a serious disease often associated with the stressful, fast-paced lifestyles of the entertainment industry at the time. Despite his resilience, the disease gradually drained his strength. On September 9, 2003, Larry Hovis died in Austin, Texas, at the age of 67, ending a life of quiet dedication to the arts. His net worth at the time was estimated at $700,000, a modest sum given the varied and passionate career he had pursued. Ivan Dixon as Sergeant James Kinchlow. Ivan Dixon was born on April 6, 1931, in Harlem, New York, and portrayed Sergeant James Kinchlow, a calm and intelligent communications specialist in the series Hogan's Heroes. He was 34 when he joined the show in 1965. Kinchlow was more than just a supporting character. He became a rare symbol of racial equality on American television during the turbulent 1960s. The son of working-class immigrants, Dixon grew up in Harlem, where he witnessed firsthand the hardships and injustices faced by Black Americans. Even after he established himself in the entertainment industry, he often encountered subtle racism, from being limited in roles to being met with silent rejection. The growing tension led him to leave Hogan's Heroes after 5 seasons, abandoning the safety of fame to pursue a directing career. Where he hoped to tell meaningful stories about his community, Dixon made his mark with The Spook Who Sat by the Owl, door 1973. Although the film faced government pressure and was pulled from theaters due to its sensitive subject matter. Behind his successes lie years of battling prejudice and obstacles that he rarely speaks of in public, but which weigh heavily on him. Despite his achievements, Dixon has always had a deep concern for social justice and the responsibility of art in history. His personal life has been relatively stable. He had spent decades with his wife Burley Ray, whom he met in college, and they had 4 children. But tragedy still found him. 2 sons died before him, leaving behind a simmering grief he rarely shared. On March 16, 2008, Ivan Dixon died at the age of 76 in Charlotte, North Carolina, after a long battle with kidney failure. His net worth at the time was estimated at $1 million, built on a daring combined acting and directing career.